Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Holly. In today's planner chat, whoop whoop, welcome aboard the Hot Mess Express. We'll talk a little bit about what's been going on, have some tea, and do a spread in the Hobonichi cousin. I don't typically use a lot of kits when I plan because of the fact that I came up on the bullet journaling side of the planner community, and most of those are more do it yourself. So I didn't have a chance to use very many kits, but this year in the Hobonichi, I'm trying out a few different ways to plan and to decorate in my planner. And I came across these on Etsy. It's a little shop called Spotted Gum, and I just love the way that these florals look. They remind me very much of summer. They look like magnolia blossoms and kind of a driftwoody, bleached blue and greens. She also included this little sticker sheet of freebies, little succulents in these animal-faced pots, and I think I will use those later, or maybe even give those to one of my pen pals. When I placed my order, I purchased a couple of vinyl stickers of my initial H for Holly in a really pretty matte black vinyl as well as a rose gold. She also included this little freebie of my name in a silver holographic vinyl, and that'll be fun to use later on somewhere. So let's go ahead and get started in the planner. I'm going to do a weekly spread using these the week of the 24th through the 30th of July. Oh, also, I want to mention what we're drinking. There's this group called Mountain Rose Herbs that makes a decaf chai that they call Firefly Chai, and it is delicious. So that's what I'm having because I'm filming this kind of late in the evening and I don't want to have the extra caffeine to keep me up. I found um, when I was using this kit, I have a little bit of analysis paralysis with some of this stuff. Now, I edited most of it out because otherwise this video would have been terribly, terribly long. Eventually, I just had to tell myself, just put it down. If you don't like it, you're only going to have to live with it a week, and then you can move on to a brand new, fresh week. The two banners at the top with the days of the week laid down very nicely. And I love the color combination that she used of these very subtle pinks, whites, light blues, and kind of an olivey light green. Now, I don't know why I thought these might come dated. I didn't request dated ones, but I'm having to pencil in the dates at the top. Added a little bit of color. I'm going to do the sidebar with the usual currently setup. Reading, watching, cooking, playing, my one thing or multiple things that I'm thankful for. So a little bit of gratitude there, and my favorite thing of the week. And I've been doing that since I began even bullet journaling. It's kind of a fun way to look back and see what was going on. The markers I'm using there are Tombow markers. I'm not sure what the colors are, but I will list them down below. I picked the colors out to specifically coordinate with the kit. Here you'll see I fumbled a couple of times trying to incorporate some washi from my current washi stash. I tried a couple of different colors. Oh, and then I hated it. So I pulled it up and I laid down some more and I pulled that up because I didn't like that either. And then I thought, why am I buying a kit if I'm not going to use the pieces in the actual kit? So I did it the hard way. I pulled a couple of these strips off that were in this kind of a bleached blue, and I cut them in half, and then I laid them down, and I had just enough to mark off the 5 days, 8 to 5 for my work week. I hope this video doesn't come across as too much of a low ebb, low energy video, but I've been going through it the last few weeks, just really struggling personally. I lost my dog. I had to have him put to sleep. His name was Oberon, shortened to Obi. He was a bull terrier mix, and he was 13 years old. So, way back when I first moved into my house and was able to actually have a fenced yard, I had thought about getting a dog, adopting one from a shelter, and then he came along and just kind of found me, is how I felt about it. I got him when he was probably around 9, 10 months old. He was in really rough shape too when I rescued him. The vet thought that he might have been used, even though he wasn't full grown yet, that he had been used in fighting in some capacity because he was covered in bites and scar tissue. But despite his rough start in life, he was absolutely the best, the sweetest dog you have ever met. I had no idea because he was the first dog I'd ever had as an adult. I had no idea I was capable of ever getting this attached to an animal. He was my best friend. Anyway, it has been really, really hard the past couple of weeks. He had been sick after I got back from my trip to Scotland in March. He had been boarded at his usual place, and they had taken very good care of him, like they always do. And he'd had such a good time playing with all the other dogs in his play groups. Anyway, he came back from that, and he had a little bit of a cough, despite the fact that he had already had his, he was up to date on his vaccinations. He'd had his Bordetella and everything, but he came back with a little bit of a kind of a wheezing cough, kind of a huffing sort of cough, not an outright like hardcore like seal bark kind of cough. So I wasn't terribly worried about it. He wasn't doing it very often, but just enough to where occasionally I'd be like, huh, that's worrisome. But it didn't seem to affect him too much, so I wasn't too concerned. But then it didn't seem to get any better, and he seemed to have start having really low energy days, which was incredibly unusual for him because he was an extremely high energy dog. Even in his golden years, he was still racing around like a greyhound. Took him into my local vet. They did, oh my, so many different things, sent off blood tests. We did x-rays. We couldn't figure out what was wrong. We put him on antibiotics. He seemed to get better, but he was also taking pain medication too because he had a little bit of arthritis, so we'd up the pain medication. He was good for a couple of weeks, and then he really took a turn over a weekend, and the cough, he couldn't seem to catch his breath. He was having a lot of respiratory distress. He was still not feeling very well, but the trouble breathing really scared me. So, of course, it was on a Sunday and my vet was closed. So I took him to a nearby city that had an emergency vet facility, and we took him in, and they did more tests and did a couple more x-rays, and the vet there was really good, but he came back and he was like, I have some really awful news. And we looked at the x-rays, and there was cancer just everywhere. His lungs were just riddled with cancer. So I had to make the decision to have him put to sleep. I still have not recovered from that experience. I have just been despondent about it. But things are getting better. Things are looking up and getting brighter every day. So hopefully I'll be back to my usual self, but it is still very challenging right now. So I appreciate you guys that are sticking with me through all of this, um, and expressing your concern. I really love you guys and appreciate you for everything. So hopefully we'll see you back here next week. Bye, guys.